So, what did you think of the discussion, bro?
Alhamdulillah, I loved it. A lot of the young people don't understand, or they don't really know who Ayan is. I
Yeah,
was a teenager, uh, early 2000s, and this woman she's evil. She really picked up on what happened on 9/11. She went with the big wave of Islamophobia that was happening back then. She made so much money off of it. People don't understand. There's blood on her hands. This woman was in the ears
yeah,
of a lot of top officials, especially in Europe, a lot of philosophers, and she was feeding them all this stuff just to hate Muslims, fear Muslims. Even in her answers today, when she was asked what's the difference between Islam and Christianity, never mentions Tawheed or the Trinity, just talks about how, you know, they expanded very quickly and it was based on violence. Just those types of things to make people, you can't be friends with them. You have to be afraid of them. And
yeah.
alhamdulillah, looking at her today, uh, she looked weak. She looked broken. Uh, and this isn't even a debate. It looks like it just took a toll on her over the years. She doesn't have that fire
The
when she
the
speaks
the
like she used to.
the kufr has weighed heavily on our soul.
Exactly. And I mean, she's so predictable. Mashallah, Muhammad Hijab, he looked a lot more comfortable in this than he did with Jordan. And she's so predictable that he knew exactly how to respond to her, even though he wasn't hearing her
Yeah,
answers. At one point, I was like, is he listening in and just does he know what she's about to say? But she's that predictable. Um, and alhamdulillah, he embarrassed her today. And I'm glad he also went after Christians because this has been happening for a long time. Christians have this double standard where especially in the U.S. They're so politically driven. They talk about conservatism, but as soon as it comes to Islam, suddenly they want to be these liberal hippies, uh, and they throw their entire conservatism out the window.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's a
I'm
very good
glad he
point.
went after her.
It's a very good, profound point, Brother Walid. And I think the first point that you made was interesting. A lot of people don't know who she is. They don't know that she has played a role in terms of the demonization, the discrimination, and the targeting of Muslims all across the world, not just the Western world, the other parts of the world, and how she. I mean, let's just be direct. Why did the far right Islamophobes, Western neocons, neo-colonial propagators, why did they all love her? Because she was saying exactly what these um, you know Western colonizers were saying, except that she was a black African woman. So it was like, we're not racist, exhibit A. That's all she was. This is why she's an embarrassment to Africans. She's an embarrassment to her Somali community. She's an embarrassment to anti imperialists across the world. And she is an icon for who? She's an icon for the same people who, right now, by the way, they're all about Russia, Russia, Russia. The whole Western world, everybody's about Russia. They've forgotten that, oh, Muslims are supposed to be the evil guys. At the height of the war on terror, when these people were just trying to show Muslims are just like ISIS and Al Qaeda, and we were trying to argue they're not. Her narrative is exactly the same as theirs, which is no, there's no difference between an average Muslim and these people who are obviously, from our perspective, there's no way these people represent Islam, but she wants to make it all look the same. So um, she was an ideological fodder for them. This is something that they would eat up and they would then use to, push out their narratives. So, yeah, I mean, very disgusting individual. In fact, miserable little specimen. Definitely. I
Yeah.
don't think that was a bad description of her.
This was
Yeah,
actually the second time I'm hearing this today.
she gave them everything they want to hear, And
Yeah.
because Muslims had such a small voice in the early 2000s, nobody was able to push back on her points. Nobody had the platform to do it. And I think what makes it more disgusting is she would go after the weakest people. It wasn't just Muslims. It was refugees in general. It was the people who were
Yes.
fleeing
Yes.
conflicts
Yes.
and trying to get to safety. And she was going after them. So she was giving the right everything they want. You want to be against Muslims, I'll give you that. If you want to be against immigrants, I'll give you that too.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
she made a lot of money on the way.
That's a very good point, because once you sell your soul to the far right, then you're going to need to sell all your soul. You can't sell half your soul. So her narrative, it wasn't just about Islam; it's about refugees,
Yeah.
right? And interestingly, her own name is actually refugee. It's not even Ayaan Ali Hirsi. It's Ayaan Magan. I think
Yeah.
everybody's going to remember that now, and I think this is a point of inflection against the new atheism movement, because Christopher Hitchens is dead. Sam Harris is now talking about spirituality. Daniel Dennett, no one knows where he is. Maybe he's going around impersonating Santa Claus now for extra bucks. No idea. And then you had people like Richard Dawkins, who they've clearly lost the plot, and a lot of people are calling him out for his bigotry. And she was supposed to be the one who hasn't been refuted yet. And I think she's gone away for many, many years without actually taking on a Muslim, right, a traditionalist Muslim. And for some reason, she accepted this discussion, even though it was limited. And nobody can say she looked good in that. Nobody can say she did well. In fact, I think, like Muhammad Hadib said, they're going to do some damage control,
Hmm.
try and cover up, what's happened and stuff.
She couldn't say a single negative thing about Christianity today during that entire debate. Like she's just sucking up to them.
Yeah.
And one thing I wish Hamid Hijab mentioned in the debate is, well, where do we get Sharia from? Most of it is derived from Jewish law. So whether you
Well,
guys like it or not,
I mean, yeah. So Sharia is not derived from Jewish law, but it's identical in some aspects. Penal
yes,
code, um, but again, this other thing that they make Sharia, which is so wide, and it has so many general categories about preservation of life, religion, so many positive things for the economy, so many positive things for charity, so many positive things for your personal health. All this stuff they'll just ignore, and they'll make Sharia into just these penal codes which are taken totally out of context. So even then, like you mentioned, you get those things in the Old Testament. In fact, you
and
can say the Sharia is far more lenient
oh yeah,
than the Old Testament.